and we will continue winning until we are too tired to keep winning. Other Gits got some stuff too. I don't care. We're talking Orks. First things first, Mega Knobs stayed the same points. 30 points a model, baby. These things are going to move. Well, not really move. I mean, they kind of move for like the watch. No, they're metaphorically moving. These things are going to be great. You're going to see them all over the place. Many of them in several different kinds of lists, in my humble opinion. Then we got the Beast Boss on Squigosaur drop down in points. Now, this one is not a surprise because he is much worse than he was, but now he joins a unit. So the toughness is a little bit not needed because you have to chew through all the models first. He is quite a bit cheaper, which is great for the big hunt, especially because now you're going to run him with a huge mob of Squig Hogs, and it's not going to be horrendously expensive, just very expensive, which is fine. Then the Beast Boss went down from 100 points to 80 points. Huge. This guy is great. The only reason we don't see him now is because the War Boss is just so much better, and they don't really have a knob equivalent in the Beast Sagas. But at 80 points, you're going to see him. Will you see him outside of the big hunt? Oh, that's a tough one. Maybe. I could see you running as like a one-of, like just having him as a lone character running around with some sort of enhancement. But probably not. Those are the biggest changes. Most of the stuff stayed the same. I think like knobs went down back to 5 points, which I don't think was necessary, especially with the toughness nerf, but I am not going to complain. So let's take a quick look at Mega Knob packages. That could be taken out of context. Anyway, Mega Knobs. We got several different ways you can run them. I think the classic way is going to be 6 Mega Knobs with a War Boss. And then you give them Teleporta if you're running the Bully Boys. Now, there are other options. Of course, you could run the Big Mech to keep on pumping out a new knob every turn. I think you want the killing power because they just don't hit super hard. Even with a War Boss and hitting on 3s, they just don't have the volume of attacks that can make them swingy when you don't have enough attacks. But I can definitely see the appeal of having a knob keep on back every turn. It just makes people, it tilts some people so bad. Oh, that might be worth it alone. The other option, of course, is 5. The reason why you run 5 Mega Knobs is because then you slap them into a truck and can still fit a character. This is, I think it's probably the base unit you're going to run because you want to put them in a truck. I really don't want them foot slogging even in the Bully Boys. I want them to be riding where they want to be because if you have to push to the middle, you want to push out of the middle. So you want to use your trucks to get in the middle, push out with all that extra speed. The other question, of course, is do you run Gas Cold? Now, this is an interesting question. I think you do, but not in Bully Boys because Bully Boys has so many high strength, high AP, high damage attacks. Well, damage 2 is fine. That you really want to start getting more. You want to get more things, and Gas is a big point sink. Now, I think you run Gas into Green Tide every single time because lethal hits on the Wa turn with Boys is such a big improvement on their killing power, and that's what the list is really needs. And that one is it's kind of killy, very board presency, but you can push it up to really killy for a turn, which is nice. But anyway, do you run Mega Knobs with Gas? Yes. I think I generally, in my opinion, if I'm not running Green Tide, I would run him with a War Boss in Mega Armor as a base, and then I would upgrade to Gas if at some point during the list building where I think it is A, I have points, or B, I need that lethal hits bubble. Or Gas's profile is really good at killing some things that Orks just aren't good at killing. But I have a hard time getting him to those kind of places because then they'll just hide the unit that you want to kill that way. But anyway, enough about Mega Knobs. They're going to be good. I'd be nervous buying 18 if you don't have any because I think those points are going to go up. But if you are like me and you're sitting on, 13, 14, I have a weird number because I made a character or two out of them. Buying a couple boxes, I see that's probably absolutely fine. Personally, I'm going to be running 2 units in my Bully Boys list. I just don't want to push to 18 because it's not my preferred playstyle of being slow and trudgy and tough. I want to be fast and hitty and stuff like that. But anyway, continuing on, then we have Squig Hogs. Now, Squig Hogs are interesting because you've got the knob added to them for free, which means, not for free, but it's not a character anymore, which means you cannot give that knob an enhancement. But what that means is now you can take the Squigosaur, put him with the Squighogs. Personally, and the points didn't go up very much. In fact, they're 40 points a month. I think they went down a point or two by the time you add in the extra body you're getting. So if you're running to Big Hunt, you're running 2 of these guys at least. 2 max units with Squigosaurs to give a -1 to wound, and the other one Scout 9. Do you run the third? I don't know. It makes sense to put Mozrog in there. There's not really another enhancement I think they want. But yeah, I might be on the third unit, because then you still want Kill Rigs, you still want Beast Snaga boys with Beast Snaga or Beast bosses, and outside of that, of course you want your Grots, probably Storm boys and Snickrot, because we always want Snickrot. But running the max amount of Squighogs with Squigosaurs is only 1,350 points, and I believe it's 60 more points with Mozrog, which for being 3/4 of your army, that is a lot of meat. A lot of tough squig meat. Personally, I probably do 6-6-3 if you want to push that way. But there's something to be said for the simplicity of just running all Squighogs and just running people over. Issue you're going to run into is, one, going second might be kind of rough. Screens could be a little rough. But most importantly, sometimes you're going to just find an opponent who has the guns and they'll just shoot you. And, it's always the risk you run, and especially because you're never going to hide. There's no terrain that's going to block line of sight to that many squigs. The next one is boys. Boys is a little bit less interesting, just because I think if you're doing boys, the reason you're taking boys right now is either A, you're in the green tide, or B, you have enough points to upgrade some Grots. That's all I can think of. Because if I want a War Boss transport, I'll just take Knobs. If I want objective filler, I'll just take Grots. So I could see a place for boys. But green tides, where are you going to do them? You're going to run 120 of them. I could see an argument to running 100 of them and putting 2 units in trucks. The other interesting thing, though, is what do you do with the characters? Because you want weird boys to teleport around. You want War Bosses. You're going to max out War Bosses. You want Pain Boys. I don't know if do you play it simple and do War Boss Pain Boy into 3 units, and then just do your Weird Boys in other units? Do you have some battle wagons to put them in? I'm not sure if there's any other characters you can put in there. I really wish there's another War Boss, or Gaz could go in there. If Gaz could go with boys, that would be great. But since he can't, no, we're not going to worry about it. Personally, I would do the 3 big squads of War Bosses and Pain Boys. I'd probably get them a battle wagon or 2. And I don't know, I'd go from there. There's not a whole lot of points left over if you do the maximum allowance of the big ones you want for that list. You probably still want Mega Knobs, especially for the reroll 1's armor save ability, or any save ability. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how that one turns out. I'm really hoping Green Tide's not good. I don't want to play into it. I don't want to play it. I know people love playing with Hordes. Playing with Hordes is great until you do your second movement phase. And then you're like, oh, well, my back's already hurting. I got 6 more hours of this 3-round event to go. It's just not my favorite. But hey, look, if you want to do it, more power to you. If you enjoy it, this is great. I'm so happy for you, I think. All right, the last one I want to look at just for points is Dreads. With Dread Mob, with these points out, I think the clear winner is Killer Cans. They are cheap, they're durable, they hit hard in shooting and in melee, and they take all of the buffs from Dread Mob so well. Especially since now that Grot Tanks are gone. Without Grot Tanks, you want Killer Cans to be the backbone of that list. I'd probably start with 18 Killer Cans at 750. I can see running 2 units. I'm probably going to try out 2 units because that's just how many I own. And I don't know what I want to pay for to come up with for these. What list am I building towards for the next little while for this codex? But I think after that, after you have your core of Killer Cans, and then you want your Grots to be screens or to be objective holders, because you could be very aggressive with this list too. I do think you want a Gorkanaut and a Morkanaut. I don't know where you put the big mech, probably with Ludas. I know you want a regular mech. The big mech, or just put them with mech guns. You're already doing Bring It Down anyway, so what's the point? What's the problem with doing more mech duns? Oh, they are 50 points a model. Ooh. Yeah, they were too good at 35, though. I don't know. So that's interesting. The Dread Mob, I think, is going to be a really cool looking list. My problem with that one is I'm afraid of how shooty it is. I don't want a 9th edition freebooters style list again. Now it'd be so fun if you're just shooting killicans and you're like, all right, well, I just did 95 damage to this unit. I took 43, but who cares? Because my guys are not important as your guys. But I'm just worried they're going to just start shooting people off the table. If that doesn't happen, it should be exciting. Stomp is 800 points. Don't take. Look, they don't want you to take the Stompa. They're telling you something. I just wish. I know people are going to run the Stompa. And I think you can give it enough buffs. It's gonna do work. I don't think it's gonna be good enough to make it into competitive events. If you do it, you're a hero, obviously. But I just don't quite think it's there at 800 points. And it's tough because they gave it such good weapons, especially its melee profile is insane, that they can't make it super cheap. But it's so expensive that even if it like shoots off 800 points, it's probably not pulling its worth. I don't know. It's a tough one. Well, so those are the big changes for the points. I'm going to start by running Bully Boys list because I already have it all built and painted, and it didn't take a whole lot to get there. I think I'm going to dabble a little bit with Speed Freaks. I don't think I've got a list that's going to work because I don't want to. I'm not buying 18 Def Coptas. All right, I'm not doing it. I think you could do that list. Then it's another shooting list, and then some. And then after that, I think I'm going to try out the Big Hunt and Bully Boys, Big Hunt, and then Dread Mob are the ones I am curious to see how they perform. And if I can do it without buying, $600 worth of kits. So anyway, I'm going to start doing some if you should, if you would, and if you could. No. If you should use a unit, or if you are going to use a unit regardless, like if you love flash kits, like I love flash kits, and you want to put them in a list, where would you put them in? Problem with flash kits is they get no buffs from like anybody because they're not knobs for some reason, even with knob profile. And flash kits. We had a good run, didn't we? Maybe we'll get Badrick out in the next book. Badrick might get a plastic kit. If only. Anyway, hope you stick around and catch the next video, and I'll see you then.